Hello and welcome to At the Leadership Table with retired Major General Jim Hoyer. Oftentimes people hear the word leader and they think only of political leaders, but leaders come in many forms, and that's worth exploring. I'm Jim Hoyer, born and raised in West Virginia, a husband, a father, a new grandfather, and a retired military leader, serving for over 40 years in public leadership for our state and nation. Now, the most important mission I have going forward is to educate, motivate, and empower our next generation of leaders. At the leadership table with us today are Cade Kincaid and Elliana Cepeda. Cade and Elliana are part of the Kendrick Fellows Program at West Virginia University. It's focused on educating talented undergraduate students in economics and ethics, and it's done through the John Chambers College of Business and Economics. And Cade and Elliana, I want to thank you for joining us at the leadership table today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
So we're going to start by asking you the same first question we ask all of our guests, and Cade, we'll start with you. Please share with us a standout moment when you learned something really important about leadership.
I think the biggest standout moment where I learned something about leadership was when I ran for the Mountaineer mascot 2 years ago and lost. I thought leadership, you could pick one style and stick with it, and I realized that leadership takes many forms, and if you want to be a good leader, you need to know all of them. So all through high school, I just kind of try to lead by example, be a good person, have good grades, and I thought that would get me everywhere I wanted, but it didn't get you far enough. It didn't get me far enough when it came to that, because you had to be able to lead vocally and lead physically, and there's so many different demanding ways of being a leader. So when I lost and I realized it was because I had no idea how to hype up a crowd or just lead as a forward-facing person instead of a more reserved leadership or kind of role model position, I realized that I had to learn all the different roles and forms that leadership takes.
Very good. Eliana, how about a standout leadership moment for you?
I think one of them was in the second to last program or class for the Kendrick program. We had to come up with a hard problem going on in society right now, either in West Virginia or across the country. And then we had to come up with policies for it, which I did not think I had any qualification or any skills to know how to do that. So it was really challenging. But working through it with the team, we kind of learned that anyone can be a leader. We all were leaders at different points in the project. And the big thing that I learned about being a leader is that you just have to take action and you need to start doing something. You can't just sit around and wait for other people to do it. Whenever you see a problem, you need to start taking one step forward and getting there. And then that's what I learned about being a leader.
Very good. So tell us about how you guys got to the Kendrick Fellows Program, and as you do that, give us a little bit of background on where you're from, because that's an important aspect of the program. And Elliana, we'll start with you.
So I actually grew up in Pittsburgh, but I moved to Morgantown my junior year of high school, and I got an email, I think it was the end of freshman year of college, and it kind of looked like a scam. It was kind of sketchy, I guess, because it was the first run of the program, and there wasn't any official WVU branding on it or anything, and it basically said to come to one of these information sessions. There were 3, and they would tell you a little bit about the program and that there was a reward. So I was kind of like, I don't know if this is real, but I might as well go to the session and see. And they briefly described the program. There were a couple of faculty there who were there to answer any questions that we had. And then at the end, they asked if anyone was interested in doing it, and we submitted a poll, I think, on our phones. And they said that they would randomly select 20 people who went to the information sessions to be in the program. So I said yes, that I wanted to do it, and then I waited for about a month or so, hearing back. And then once I got the email that I was accepted, I immediately said yes, because I was super excited about being in it. So for me, it was kind of random getting accepted into the program.
Very good. Cade, what about you?
Yeah, I was sitting in a finance class, and I heard 3 or 4 students talking about the trip they were getting ready to take to Fayetteville. And of course, I'm a Fayetteville native. That's kind of where it comes in, as I heard them talking about the gorge and where they're going to go hang out and do rafting. And I was like, what program are you going with? And they said the Kendrick Fellows Program. And I was 4 semesters away from graduating, and I looked it up online and saw that you needed 5 semesters to finish it. So I thought I was out of luck, but they let me double up on the classes. And it seemed like a no-brainer for me because they were talking about the rewards that they got with being a Kendrick Fellow, and most of the rewards come from just being an in-state student that is wanting to stay in the state. So I was like, I'm already staying in this state. Like, I was already very committed at that point in time. I was like, might as well go get the reward. If I'm going to stay, I might as well be rewarded for it. So it was just talking about Fayetteville ended up sparking my interest enough.
Very good. So tell us a little bit about the requirements for participation. And Cade, we'll start with you and then let Elliana add in some of those requirements.
I think the really short is just high-achieving students that want to stay in West Virginia and are from West Virginia or have lived in West Virginia. I think that's kind of the short way to say it. I don't know 100%, but.
And so, Elliana, some of the classes that you guys were required to take, can you talk a little bit about those?
Mm-hmm. So the first couple classes were a lot about learning about the history of economics and different ethical philosophers and problems like that. And it was a lot of discussion based. Like the first class was a lot of just discussions about hard questions that I had never really thought about, more philosophy based. And then we took another class, I think 2 classes after that, and it was more about basic statistics and economics, because I'm from exercise physiology, so I didn't really know any of this. So they started off with a background of economics and ethics, and then as we got that foundation, then we moved more into the project based, like trying to problem solve and group work.
So we recently had Kate Johnson, who is the director of the Kendrick Center, on, and she made the statement during our interview, we're starting to see young people who fully expected to leave West Virginia start to imagine building their careers here. So I thought somebody born and raised in the state and passionate about the future of the state. And Cade and I think had a conversation once before about, I grew up in the Kanawha Valley in the 1960s and 70s and early 80s, and it was a booming place. And now it's gone through some economic challenges, so focusing on bringing it back. So tell me what you guys see in that construct of, hey, maybe I didn't see a future in West Virginia, but now I do. Give me a little bit of perspective on how you've been impacted in this program related to that.
Yeah, like I said, growing up in kind of a similar region in Fayette County, it was the same thing. I saw my dad from Ansted. His whole area, I saw how bad it was changed from when he was a kid to when I was growing up in there, and I just saw so many things die off, and I always knew that I wanted to go back and help it. And with accounting, it's not easy, but it's a little bit easier than a lot of other majors, but I still had to, you have to be lucrative when you want to find a career down there, and I'm still somewhat struggling, but knowing that the Kendrick Center is backing me and rewarding me for wanting to stay in the state, that's awesome. So that's, as somebody that wanted to stay, I know that I'm being pushed farther in, and they're just incentivizing me and rewarding me, but at the same time, I think there's people that are on the line that they have flipped. So I didn't need flip, but it gave me a push. And then roommates and friends that are also in the center, I've seen that they were thinking about going other ways, but this program pushed them to become more lucrative or pushed them to think about different pathways that could allow them to stay, because we've done 5 classes and a lot of work and research on this state, and it's been really cool to see how much impact we could make, or just kind of cool ideas of things we could do. So I think it's done a really good job at flipping people over that line.
So Elliana, you have a little bit different perspective because you came from Pittsburgh. You adopted Morgantown as your home, and you decided to stay at WVU as part of your education. So give me your perspective on how you see the opportunities going forward.
I think whenever I first moved here, it was definitely a lot different from Pittsburgh. I didn't necessarily see myself living here for the rest of my life or extended future after, but I do, throughout the program, seeing West Virginia, seeing the need for people to stay here, it's kind of developed more of a love for the state, especially going to the different cities and areas of West Virginia, seeing there are opportunities here to work, and I think it might be a little more difficult to find them, but the fact that the Kendrick Center, they want to encourage that and they want to help find us opportunities. Like, I've met with a couple people who wanted to help me with internships and things like that going forward. So the fact that I have that support to be able to stay here and find work here is encouraging.
As you guys work through your program, what were some of the things that you identified that West Virginia communities could do to better support young leaders to stay here in the state? And Elliana, we'll start with you this time and then have Cade give us some insights.
I think one thing that I learned from going on trips, so we had these networking dinners with business professionals and people who had been successful, like entrepreneurs. I think meeting with them one-on-one and maybe shadowing people who are in the fields that we're looking at would be really supportive. I think also one thing that communities can do, so for a couple of our classes, we worked on writing policies and talking about these things and how we would want them to play out, but it was hard because we couldn't actually do a lot of the stuff. Like, for the policies, for example, my class worked on foster care and we wrote up some policies for that, but we can't actually put those into action. So seeing the community take steps towards action would be something that's supportive, to be like, oh, we can come up with these ideas and then we might actually see them be put into place.
And so, Cade, you have a unique perspective in that, as you talked about your dad growing up in Ansted, and things were going really well economically at that time. Then we hit a downturn, but now in your area in particular, in Fayetteville, we're seeing this growth of this new industry of tourism. So what are some of the things as you go back to the community that you'd like to see the community adopt that will help attract and grow opportunities for young leaders?
I think the biggest thing, and I've also have the unique side of I've been in most counties and schools because I was the mountaineer traveling around, and I think the biggest thing we can do for these kids is exposure and just teaching them or showing them the opportunities that they have. I went to high school so I grew up in Fayetteville, and that's where I was going to go to high school, but our high school got shut down, and then I went to high school over in Ansted. So I went to Midland Trail, which is technically in Hico, but I ended up in the same group of people my dad grew up with, and the culture is very different, and I think a lot of the kids I graduated with were overly qualified to come to college, but they didn't understand that they could afford it and that there's so many different pathways and programs and things at this university or in this state that will allow them to come up here for 4 years and then go back, or 2 years or 3 years, however long it takes you to finish. I think explaining these opportunities to counties like Fayette and Calhoun and Gilmer and all these schools that I went to, where you go ask a high school class how many of them want to go to college, and 4 of them raise their hands because they want to stay home. Showing them that there's opportunity and exposing them to the things that will allow them to go home, bring what they learned back, and build a better future for their family is, I think, it's the best thing we can do. My parents, my dad's from Ansted, my mom's from Richwood, both very different backgrounds than what I grew up with, but they made the sacrifice to leave home and learn so much within this university that then they brought it back and they made my life a little bit better, my sister's life a little bit better. She's in med school now. And then I'm about to go do my thing professionally. So if both of us go into our professional fields and bring it back to Fayette County and make it a little bit better, if we can start a chain like that, it'd be the biggest thing we could do.
And the Kendrick program was designed around not only helping you understand economics and ethics related to that, but to energize what you just talked about. So I'm going to ask you guys to both make your pitch to high school students who are coming to the university in the fall, or students who are freshmen looking for that next opportunity. Why should they look at getting involved in the Kendrick Fellows Program? So Elliana, we'll start with you.
I think for me, I met some of my closest friends through the Kendrick program, people that I don't think I ever would have talked to before. So it was really cool to talk to people from different backgrounds, different majors that I might not have ever met before, and just that networking aspect. And then also the opportunity of getting to go on a bunch of different trips to see different parts of the state that I would have never done on my own. That was really cool to see what West Virginia has to offer, what it looks like in different counties and different towns. And then also the fact that the professors and the faculties, they want to see you be successful and they want to help you in the future. So having that support was something that helped me get through my undergrad.
Seeing some of those hidden treasures of West Virginia, has that motivated you even more to stay here?
Yeah. And then go out and explore on my own too after graduation.
And Cade, from your perspective, you've had the opportunity to participate in the Kendrick Fellows Program. You've had the opportunity to represent the university and the state as the Mountaineer. What's your pitch to up-and-coming students as to why they should be a part of this program?
I think the biggest reason you should be a part of this program is because if you have any thoughts that you want to stay in this state, or you are definite that you want to stay in the states, the things that this program will expose you to as far as people, places, opportunities, as well as how supportive they are of you during your time at college. You know, I came up to WVU without a suit. As a business major, that's a pretty big thing, and they flat out just bought us one. So seeing that they want you to succeed so badly, and that they're the ones that are going to push you back into your hometown and connect you to those people, or even if it's not your hometown, they're going to take you to the place that you want to be and try to connect you with every resource, such as you and so many other people that I've met, Brad Prices of the world. There's been so many people that I think the job search and my career understanding would be at half the level it is right now if it wasn't for the Kendrick Fellowship. So if you really think you will have a career or a future in Fayetteville, they're going to do nothing, or not Fayetteville, but in West Virginia, Fayetteville myself, they're going to do nothing but support that, and that's just an amazing feeling.
And I think we need to give a particular shout out to Ken and Randy Kendrick, who have put not just their treasure but their time in this program, and really, you know, we are now seeing some great success with WVU baseball. So Kendrick Family Ballpark gets a lot of play right now, but the Kendricks have put a lot of time and effort in a program designed to make West Virginia better for the future. So I think we owe them a debt of gratitude from a West Virginia perspective. So I want to end by asking you guys to give me your vision for what you see for West Virginia in the next 5 to 10 years, and how you want to impact that. So Elliana, we'll start with you.
I think I need to think about this one.
All right, Cade.
Yeah, I think the impact I want to make is kind of continuing what my family started. I definitely see myself in the next 5 to 10 years starting a family in Southern West Virginia in some capacity, and just making that commitment to go back to that area and instill the values that I have into my kids, that hopefully, you know, they take what me and my partner did and they expand on that, and they try to do the same thing where they want to make their part of the state better. I think continuing that legacy is the biggest impact I can make, and I think a lot of other families can take away from that.
And when you and I first met and we first talked, one of the things I came away with is you're pretty determined to go back to Fayetteville and see it to the next level of success.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful place. It's not frozen in time, but at the same time, the values that I think are so important in our life, where I can walk to the town park at the age of 7 and nobody bother me. That's a very rare thing in a lot of this world. Mm-hmm. So being able to expose my kids to that and understand that community, and Midland Trail is such an amazing place because we've lost 6 students in the past 8 years, and this community has nothing. We graduate 75 kids a year, and to see that I went and gave out scholarships as the Mountaineer, and the 5 or 6 scholarships that preceded me were all memorial scholarships for my classmates or people that I went to school with, and those families didn't pay a dime for that scholarship. It was all the community nickeling and diming, and the people that do have money making that impact. If something happens to me or my kids, I'm not going to be surrounded by anything else, and that's why I'm so devout to Fayetteville, Fayette County, Nicholas County, just something in that little pocket of just good people that care about each other.
Very, very good. So Elliana, what do you envision for West Virginia in the next 5 to 10 years as a leader now committed to staying here and making the state a better place?
I think for me, I'd envision hopefully a lot more investment in healthcare and helping make our residents healthy, because we are ranked a little lower on like across the nation for health and wellness, especially like learning exercise physiology and then also ethics and economics. Like if we're not healthy, we won't be able to live life to the fullest and be able to work our hardest and want to stay here and want to give back to the state. So I think for me, I'd like to make an impact in that domain. I'm going to get my master's in exercise physiology and hopefully work with strength and conditioning for tactical athletes. So being able to help people take advantage of the healthcare system and the resources that hopefully we have to help people get healthier and be able to work their hardest in the state.
Very good. So I just want to say I appreciate both of you guys. Your participation in the program demonstrates a commitment to leadership, but also to the state of West Virginia and making it a better place for the future. I'm confident after talking to you guys that the state's in good hands, and we've got some good young leaders to help us move forward. So I thank you for being committed to leadership in the state, and thank you for joining us at the leadership table today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for listening. This has been At the Leadership Table with retired Major General Jim Hoyer. Did you know you can now find me on social media at RMG Hoyer? That's HOYER, or email me at rmgjameshoyer@gmail.com.